or two, but I want to make sure that um, I'm definitely respectful. How to confidently teach your toddler to sleep through the night without losing your patience. Toddlers are funny little people. They crack us up. They make us smile all the time, but oh my goodness, sometimes if your kids are anything like mine, sometimes they can extra test your patience. And so when it comes to learning a new skill like sleep and sleeping through the night, it can become such a battle. So I'm so glad that you all are here tonight so that we can talk about your kids, talk about getting sleep throughout the night, and just really have a good time together doing that. So I would love if you guys would give me a tag on Instagram that you're watching this webinar. There's still room so people can jump in. That would be awesome. So go ahead and take a picture and tag me and tell people where they can log in because it is definitely not too much. I would love to see who all is here on Instagram. So if you'll tag me, I'll make sure to connect with you after, and I'm so excited to do so. So, you are in the right place tonight if you are just making it through each night trying to get as much sleep as you can between multiple wake ups. You are in the right place if every morning you wake up tired, exhausted, ready to go back to bed, surviving cup of coffee by cup of coffee by cup of coffee, and have no energy. It's even worse if you are expecting a little brother or sister and you have to limit the coffee. You are in the right place if you're ready to start sleeping consistently without hours of fighting or the crying to make it happen. However, this is not for you if you're not ready. I always say that things work until they don't. And so if what you're doing is working for you, that is fine. I am not trying to make anyone do anything they don't want to do. However, when you are ready, I'll be here. But if you are ready, which if you're on this webinar, you're probably at least semi-ready, right? So I'm so glad you're here and let's dive in. So tonight you will learn all about how to understand the blueprint of your toddler's sleep chemistry. It is so much more than just behavioral. There's so much chemistry happening in their bodies. You will learn the number one strategy you need to get your little one sleeping 12 hours at night without the tantrums. You will learn the secret to reclaiming rest as a parent without losing out on that quality attachment that I know we all want. And so, for being here tonight, you're getting to pick um, one of the two. So, I'd love to hear your options on this is for people who book a call and take action at the end, but there's a choice. So, bonus bundle number one is the sleep travel guide that Little Wing Sleep has put out. So, this answers all of your travel questions, which we know that traveling with littles is already a bit challenging. Remember when you could just hop in the car and go? That is not the case anymore. Who knew little people take so many things? So, this is your all in one travel guide. So, that's option one. Option two is a step by step guide to fostering excellent attachment. And I will tell you, my normal clients do not get these. So, these are things that are specifically for people who are on this webinar and take action. So, let me know in the comments which one you would want. I believe there might be a poll, but let me know which one you would want. And then we have Anna and Des in the chat as well. And so if you have webinar questions, if you're starting to have, if you have any, yes, there's Anna. If you have any, webinar issues, if you're like, I don't see the poll, I don't see the offer, any of those things, Anna and Des are in the chat to help you out. So as a thank you for being here tonight, I am going to send you a link to a copy of our wake time chart. And so this wake time chart is crucial to know how much sleep your child needs for development for their particular age. If you just Google how much sleep does my child need? Well, you need to know what age they are, what is their normal ranges, should they still be napping, all those things. So As a thank you for being here tonight, we're going to send you that. So stay tuned. So, A or B, which one would you want? Would you want the never have to Google something about traveling again? I assume that at some point we will be traveling all the time. So, at some point, would you want to never have to Google something again? Or the keep healthy attachment, the 7 keys to healthy bonding? So, let us know which one you would prefer. B, okay, we have a healthy attachment. Okay, awesome. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. So, I want you guys to imagine this for a moment. You're sitting at home, you guys are you're playing with the kids, you're working, whatever it is you're doing, and you get a call from your partner. And they're like, "Hey, guess what? This is incredible. This is unbelievable. My boss is taking us on a cruise." You'd be like, "What? Your boss is taking us on a cruise?" And your partner's like, "Yep, we're going on a cruise." And you're like, "Oh my goodness, a paid in full cruise? This is amazing. Like, everyone should work there. Can I get a job there?" Except it's awesome because you get to go on the cruise with them anyway. So you're like, "Oh my goodness, a cruise without the kid. We're just going to relax. This is going to be so beautiful. Look at that gorgeous scenery." Like, your hair is automatically going to grow out, and you're just going to have these luscious cruise locks, and it's just going to be unbelievable. But you could be one of two people. You could be Brittany, who feels a lot of anxiety at the thought of how her toddler will manage without her there. Doesn't have the flexibility to do things because she couldn't imagine asking someone to lay with her for hours. And then, after trying some suggestions from Google and friends, gives up and does whatever works in the moment. And Brittany is thinking, there is just no way we can go on this all expense paid cruise. Like, who would watch the kid? I mean, we just can't. I mean, we just cannot. Rachel is able to say yes to things like going out in the evening because she knows that her toddler will go down with anyone they deem safe. She's really calm and flexible. She knows what her child can and cannot handle and is able to put them down and know confidently they will fall asleep. She has time for her partner, friends, because she knows that her toddler is going down at 7 o'clock and it will be without a fuss. She's just confident about that. So, option 1, Brittany can't go on the cruise. Option 2, Rachel is like, "All right, let's pack our bags. Let's go. I'm excited. Let's do this." Well, hi, I'm Bonnie, and I accidentally became a really exhausted, sleep deprived mom. I It was pretty rough. I have 2 kids. I have my oldest, his name is Clark. In this picture, he was 19 months. And my youngest, his name is Merrick. In this picture, he was about 2 weeks old. And this was our first, like, big outing out of the house. And you can tell how tired we were. I used to lay down with Clark for about 2 hours a night, usually. And then in the middle of the night, we would get up, we'd get his passy, we'd pop it back in. I mean, we were exhausted. And then we had a newborn on top of it. And obviously, we didn't know how to get the newborn to sleep either. So we were just like ping ponging all night long, all night long, all night long. And it was awful. I I would hear of friends who could just, like, leave their kid in their room and walk out, and I was just like, "This," like, I just could not even imagine a world where that was possible, and everyone's advice to me was just like, "Shut the door. Just shut the door and walk out. Just shut the door and walk out," and I just couldn't do it. I just could not, but I dreamed of the night that would be a full night's sleep. Every night before bed, there was, like, this teensy tiny bit of hope of, like, maybe tonight will be the night. Maybe tonight we can do it. Can anyone relate to that? Have you guys ever felt that little teensy tiny bit of, like, maybe tonight this will just happen and we'll be okay. I like absolutely loved those first few minutes of snuggles with Clark. But then he would kick and he would roll and he would spin around and he would stand up on the bed and jump and he'd roll off the bed. And then I mean, all of the things. And you would think he was finally asleep. He'd be so still. And then he'd jerk up again. And it just felt like a never ending process. I was Brittany. I really was. Here is actual footage of me during my Brittany days. I look exhausted. Um, there's my 2-year-old with his passy in his mouth. Um, I had had enough. I was done. I could not do it anymore. I needed to help him fall asleep on his own. I wanted to have my sleep back so that I could be the best mom that I could be. And I wish that someone had been there to tell me that things could be different. Everyone's advice was just like, close the door and walk away. And I truly did not know that there was another way. I finally was able, once I learned that there was another way, to be the patient, energetic mom that I wanted to be. Until this point, I had held sleep deprivation as a badge of honor. I thought, look at me, I'm such a good mom. I snuggle with my child every night for 2 hours and oh, I'm just such a good mom. And I kind of wore it like a martyr, like I was a martyr. And people were like, "Oh, that's so hard. Oh, yes. Oh, you are a martyr." But then I realized things could be different. After realizing that things could be different, I started chasing my passions and dreams after feeling stuck in a career that I just did not love. When I was talking about, the like Brittany can't go on a cruise with her partner, that would have truly been us. My parents are incredibly involved grandparents. They love my boys with their whole hearts, and they basically sat us down and said we can only do one night max. And even then, it was like hit or miss because it was too much for them. This is like actual like before footage of my dad trying to walk them around and like the boys just even look tired in that one. And then this after is just a little bit ago where my dad was actually like doing bedtime with Merrick. And it just was such a sweet moment for me to be able to like see Merrick be like, Papa, Papa, you put me to bed, you put me to bed. And grandpa could do it because any safe person can put them to sleep. Um, just and so now they'll like keep them and they'll watch them and they soak up the time with them. And I'm so, so thankful to have more flexibility to where they can watch them and they can know that they're going to go to bed at a certain time and then they can get the sleep that they need. So, the reason you all are here is for the 7 to 7 secure sleep formula. So, I'm so glad that you are all here for this tonight. This process is not going to be painful. You'll get a full night's sleep, time with your partner or friends, no more broken sleep, no more awful, awful nap attempts that end in just like everyone crying. I know I had those where I was just like crying in the hallway and they were crying in the bedroom and we were all just crying. And then no more like car naps out of necessity. This formula I'm sharing with you does not require you to battle it out with your toddler with endless tears. I did it in 3 weeks, and you can too. You really can. So I'm so, so glad that you are here. Before, it would take 2+ hours to get Clark to fall asleep. Honestly, we only had car naps. Honestly, to tell you where we really were, he almost got like kicked out of his preschool. Whose 2-year-old almost gets kicked out of preschool? Mine did. Mine sure did. Because at nap time, when all the other kids would lay on their mats, he would scream and scream and scream and scream. and scream some more and scream until finally they said, okay, the only way he can stay at this school is if you pick him up before nap time. So, A, embarrassing. B, I felt so bad for him because he was missing out on that time with his friends. He was missing out on just like so much important development, and we really had no idea what to do about it. Before he was up multiple times each night. He couldn't self regulate, hence the screaming and screaming and screaming. I was emotional and I had this like sick gut in my feeling every night before bed. If you have ever felt that sick gut, let me know in the chat because it was just awful. But now, after, I enjoy bedtime. Like, I absolutely adore that time with each of my boys. It is such special, sweet time. They sleep 12 hours a night. They each sleep 10 to 12 hours a night. They do. And it's so wonderful because we can confidently close their doors. And barring sickness, we know we'll see them in the morning and they'll be rested and engaged. They're able to follow and listen. We no longer have the problem where they just scream and scream and scream at school. Now, sure, they're toddlers. They'll throw little toddler tantrums every now and then, but they're able to control their body. They're happy and engaged, and there's so much more flexibility because I know if we travel, they'll be able to sleep. I know that if we need to stay out a little later one night, that's okay. They'll be able to handle it. So I'm so thankful for that, and I want that for you too. So I was making three big, big, big mistakes that kept my boys from sleeping. And so I really want to share those with you because if you're making some of these same mistakes, then we can fix them right here, right now. So, mistake number one, I firmly thought that my kid was different and that he just would not do it. So, if you have felt this, let me know in the chat that your kid is different. There's just no way they'll sleep. There's just no way, no how. I legitimately had no hope that Clark could sleep by himself. I really didn't. We originally contacted Little Winks to help with Merrick, who was a baby at the time, because I thought we can't do this again. If we have one bad sleeper, it'll be fine, but I cannot do this again. So we were like, Merrick's still a baby. We can do it. We can help him. Let's do it. But 3 days into teaching Merrick how to sleep, which, by the way, he slept through the night on night 3, which was just amazing. I kind of started getting some hope that maybe there was something to this and maybe things could be different with our toddler. And getting that little bit of hope is really what changed everything for me. And I really want you guys to have that hope as well. So, have this hope. If you need to borrow some confidence, borrow mine. I've got plenty to go around. But I want for you to know that your child can get sleep. So, what Clark was thinking from his perspective, my perspective was there's no way he can do it. He just won't. He won't. These are all of the different thoughts that I imagine were going through his head. So, I can't do this by myself. When a child really depends on something outside of themselves to fall asleep every night, they don't understand that they really have what it takes to do it themselves. Our job is to help them learn that they can do it and empower them to do so. So that includes helping them learn that, that they really can do it themselves, whether they have a lovey, and that's like giving them time to practice and figure it out and helping them gain the confidence because your child right now really does not know that they can do it. They don't believe it. So the confidence has to start with us in order to give to them that they can do it. Then there's this is how I know to get to sleep. So if your child was nursed or rocked as a baby to sleep, and then now that they're a toddler, you're having to lay down with them every night, they really don't know that there are other ways that they can get to sleep. Children develop these strategies over time that they use to fall asleep. So when they depend on something outside of themselves, so whether that's you, whether that's a pacifier, Whatever that is, they don't learn the other ways because they continue to do what works for them unless we introduce another strategy. So, our job is to equip them with the tools that they need and support them while they learn. So, a lot of times, kids can feel like their body is out of control. It's making me feel uncertain. When children don't understand what is happening, they can feel out of control and cortisol starts firing through their systems. This is largely why close the door strategies don't work for older children because they get so worked up that they legitimately cannot learn. Our job is to keep them calm, to coach them through their learning. I love this because this is really the huge key of why closing the door strategies aren't always effective at this age. I don't think they're super effective at any age, but especially at this one. Um, so this is what we call the stoplight approach. So if a child is in green brain, that's when they're feeling really safe and connected. They're ready to learn. They're working out of their neocortex, which is like more up in their actual brain. They're feeling really confident. This is when kids are like really willing to like go out, explore, try new things. This is when they're feeling really confident. They're feeling really safe. This is like the perfect prime learning time. This is where we want our kids to be when they're learning all of these things. So if you can keep your child calm, if you can be really like confident and show them a lot of support, help them know that you're there for them through this process, that is going to work hugely in your favor. The yellow brain is when they're kind of outside their comfort zone. They're really tired. They're really like already stressed. They're hungry. So to help these things, put them down a little earlier. Make sure they're not overtired already going into bedtime. Make sure that you're calm so they're not getting the stress off of them. Make sure they have all of their like basic needs met going into bedtime so that they're really at their best place to learn. And then red brain, that is when they're firing from their brainstem. And if you have a toddler, which if you're here, you do most likely. So if you have a toddler, then you know those moments where they just are so overwhelmed that they cannot function. That is where they are feeling that huge cortisol rush, that flight, fight, or freeze, and there is just no learning that's taking place in that environment. So, really be with them, keep them calm, and just really help them to know that you have the confidence in them that they can do this. The fourth thing he was really thinking is, I need sleep now, and this is how I'll know I feel better. When children are really tired, they know that they do not feel good. They don't always know why they don't feel good, but they know that they don't feel good and they want relief. Adenosine is a chemical that builds up in your brain. Another way we can call that is sleep pressure. And it builds up throughout the day, throughout the day, throughout the day. And so the reason younger children and babies need naps is because they have a much lower threshold for their ability to handle adenosine. So they have to be able to um, really like get to a point where they can release it. And that's what naps are so crucial for. But when it builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up, there reaches a breaking point where they just cannot handle it anymore. It causes overtiredness, that releases cortisol, and all of those things are just this major conglomeration of a nightmare that's going to happen when you try to change up bedtime. So at that point, all they want is to go to sleep. And at that point, they know that laying down with you is how they know to go to sleep. So, the best thing we can do is really set the times for them before they're overtired to really help them be set up for success so that they're not going into learning overtired. Because I know I can't learn when I'm overtired, and it's the exact same with them, even more so. Your child can feel confident and sleep for 12 hours a night. Trust me, if mine can, anyone's can. So, my mistake number two, I really thought he would grow out of it, but I learned that sleep is like riding a bike. It isn't something that just magically someday happens. Sleep is a skill. About 25% of babies are born into the world knowing, just being like really good at sleep. I don't even say like good sleeper, bad sleeper, but some kids are like naturally good and athletic. Some kids are naturally good at math. Some kids are naturally good at sleep. But the other 75% can be taught, just like any other skill. There is skill development involved. But when we miscommunicate what the skill needs to be, when we constantly do it for them, do it for them, do it for them, that leads to more misunderstanding, especially with toddlers. You can talk all day long, but they're going to follow what your actions say, right? So, actions are all about the communication. So, let's think of this skill development like riding a bike. So, the first step is equip. So, equip is pretty simple. You hand them a bike. The next step is model. You show them how to ride the bike. So in sleep, you make sure they have a bed, maybe they have a lovey, they're set and ready to go. They're clean, they're fed, all the things. Model, you show them what's expected. Practice. So when you're riding a bike, you go out, you practice. My boys were on the driveway today. They were riding their tricycles all around the driveway, and having a huge time with it. But often, this is where we stop. So when you bring your baby home from the hospital, sometimes it's like, okay, we need them to sleep. And so you nurse them to sleep or you rock them to sleep, which both are totally appropriate and sometimes happen with newborns, and that is fine. But then we get in this practice where we stay in the equip model practice. We stay practicing the same habits over and over and over. And we start with those training wheels. We start with these training wheels that, are great and work. And so we just stick with them because they're working and they're working. But eventually it gets to this point where we realize that we're stuck and it's time to take off the training wheels. And that is where we really empower our children to take off the training wheels. They can ride, they can ride. You practice with them without the training wheels, and then you let go and you let them do it. And that really, you give them the confidence and the empowerment that they can do it on their own. And then once they feel like they can do it on their own, they'll keep going and going and going and just continue to grow and excel and thrive. And then they'll go back to the beginning and learn more and improve even more. I know that our boys have continually improved their sleep over time, over time, over time. Now it's so much easier to travel with them. Now, if everything is not exactly according to the bedtime routine, it's okay. It gets easier over time as they go back to the beginning and grow even more, even more. So, sleep is a skill, just like riding a bike. So, we have to teach them through it. And studies have shown that actually 80% of parents who do nothing to help their children sleep now are in the same situation 3 years later. So, maybe your child will be one of the 20 that grow out of it, but there's a really big chance that they won't and that they need to learn the skill. And even the 20 that do grow out of it, most likely they learned a skill from school or from daycare or somewhere else like that. So then mistake number three that I made is I felt like I just needed to suck it up and soak it up. Has anyone else felt that way? I definitely did. I had so many pressures coming at me. Parents, in laws, mom friends. I mean, you name it, I felt like I had the pressure. The worst one for me was like mommy blogs that talked about how I should just soak up every single sleep deprived moment. And I just I just felt like I had that badge of honor strong, and I just felt like there was no way that I could let it go. So, when we look at a child's sleep cycles, when they're a newborn, they actually only have two stages of sleep. They have deep sleep and they have REM sleep, and it lasts anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes. And deep sleep is the body restorative sleep. That's your immune system, bumps, bruises, all of those things. REM sleep is the memory sleep. So that is where memories are stored, attachment is formed, all of those great things happen in REM sleep. So it's so crucial that our littles are getting full sleep cycles so that they get the full amount of deep and the full amount of REM. So this is leading up to 4 months. So the advice, put your baby down drowsy but awake, will work up until 4 months. However, at that 4 month mark, where everyone talks about the dreaded 4 month regression. What really happens is they gain the additional two stages of sleep. They gain stage one and stage two. And at this point, the sleep cycle is 45 to 50 minutes. And so those first two levels become so much more significant. But what's really tricky is that these first two stages are what we perceive as drowsy. So if you're using the drowsy but awake, that doesn't work anymore. Whatever happens in stage one and stage two become the child's understanding of how to get to sleep. This is so crucial, you guys. So think right now about what is happening when your child is getting drowsy at night. What's happening with them? What are you doing? What's happening outside of their body? What is something that they are not controlling? Whatever it is, that is how they know how to get to sleep. Every child wakes up at about 45 minutes and, wakes up just the tiniest bit. If you were to get an outlet monitor, you would see it. Or if, you wore a Fitbit, you'd see it for yourself. We have 90-minute sleep cycles, but every child wakes up the slightest bit at 45 minutes and rises to go back around the sleep cycle. Stage one, stage two, deep REM. And that's where they have to self-initiate their sleep skills. So if they're used to your laying down with them and then they wake up at that 45-minute mark and you're not there, if they need you to lay down with them, they're not going to know what to do. And I have to imagine, I mean, just picture for a moment that you need someone to do something for you every time you woke up from a sleep cycle. That would be so hard. But when we give our kids this gift and we understand that what happens in stage one and stage two is what they need, then we're empowered to help them learn skills that they can manage themselves. When kids sleep well, they're able to attach, they're able to bond, they're able to learn, and they're able to develop with so much more ease. And actually, I was so worried about attachment. Attachment was one of those things that I was like, I just can't ruin my children. Like, what if they don't think I love them anymore? I mean, I feel silly saying that now, but that was so real. I mean, I legitimately had that deep seated fear that they would not know that I loved them. But what I've learned in all of my research on attachment is that it's actually formed during some quality time during the day. And these tips can help hugely with separation anxiety as well. So, give your child a lot of focused eye contact at different points throughout the day. Some really great times to do that are anytime you've been separated. So, like in the morning time when they first wake up, that's a great time for some really focused eye contact. When you pick them up from school, when you pick them up from daycare, whatever it is, that's a really great time. Anytime they're really talking to you, that is definitely put your phone down, put your work down, whatever you need to do, and look at them in the eye and listen to what they're saying. And that is going to form infinitely more attachment than laying down with them at night. When you leave, let your child know where you're going and when you'll be back. This is crucial to help your child know that mommy or daddy always comes back and that they know where you are. And yes, they might have a period where they like cry when you leave, but they truly know if you do this that you love them and that you're coming back. And then in all of my research, I found that I thought it was really interesting. I might be a little bit of a sleep nerd, but the most securely attached parents are the most securely attached children are the ones whose parents were consistent. So it didn't matter if they co slept, it didn't matter if they slept independently in their room all night long. What mattered was the consistency. So, if you can be consistent, the attachment will thrive. So, you might as well be getting more sleep, right? So, it's all about consistency, knowing what to expect. When you are consistent, you're able to support your child throughout the process, and this will allow them to trust you that you're always there for them. So, before we go forward, I just want you to really know just a few things. Waiting for them to grow out of it is not the solution. But it's also not about just like ripping off the band aid, closing the door, and like ordering pizza and just hoping it works out. The solution is having a clear sleep strategy plan where you're able to implement it and be effective with it. Know this too, it is not your fault that your child is not sleeping. You've been told to do this, you've been told to do that, you've been told to do this. There have been so many things coming at you. And oh, how I wish when you brought your child home from the hospital, there was a manual. I wish I had a manual for Clark and I wish I had a manual for Merrick because every child is so different. Like, even my two children are so different. You've been told to do whatever works in the moment in fear that if you don't do these things, you may actually harm your child. If you listen to those voices, though, it's a recipe for a very confused child, short periods of sleep, frustration and anxiety around sleep for both you and your child. A lot of our clients come to us and they usually fit into one of these three categories. Honestly, the first two. So they're either like awaiting Wendy, where they're just like waiting to see what's going to happen. They're surviving day by day. They're running on adrenaline. They're just trying to make it through the day. There's Hot Mess Hannah, who's like, okay, I'm gonna try this. And then she tries something for a night or two. It doesn't work. She's like, okay, I'm gonna try this now. Try something for a night or two. Okay, I'm gonna try this now. Try something for a night or two. And Hannah's just always trying to find whatever it is, whatever the it factor is. But when our clients leave us, they are mom goals Mandy. They have a plan. They know that it's going to suit their child's needs. They're going to implement it in a way where they can both achieve that overnight success. So, I want to know, which one are you now? Who do you want to be? What do you most relate to? Are you just kind of waiting, hoping that it fixes itself, hoping that it solves itself? Do you feel like you try something, every couple of days and it's not working? Or do you feel like you know what to do? You're ready to be Mom Goals Mandy. So I would love to know who feels like they want to be Mom Goals Mandy, who feels like they're there, who feels like there's at least hope that they could be there now. So here is the 7 to 7 secure sleep formula. We talked a lot about, the mistakes that I had made and everything I learned through there, and I hope that those were super helpful for you guys going forward. But this is where we're talking about how to really develop a formula with your child. I'm so glad you love a good plan, Lindsay, because we've got one. So the first step is the body blueprint. The second step is the sleepy strategy, and the third step is reclaiming rest. So, the body blueprint. Knowledge is power. Let's be honest here. If you don't know how something works, you can't fix it. We always joke in my household that I just try and like tinker with things without actually reading the instructions, and that just does not work. We have to know how things work in order to fix them. So, if you tried things before that didn't work, have you felt frustrated that it seems like nothing you've tried works? Knowing how to sleep plus your why is your toddler's blueprint. So, the real key here, we've talked quite a bit about how sleep works, but we also have to know your why. You have to know why you're doing this for your family. You have to know why you're doing this for your child because night one is not going to be perfect with the 7 to 7 secure sleep formula. And so when there's a 2 a.m. wake up, you have to know why you're doing what you're doing so that you can stick with your plan. So, as far as creating a body blueprint, these are elements that need to be considered with each unique child. So, components of sleep, how sleep works. That goes back to those sleep cycles that we talked about. Whatever is happening in stage one, stage two, that is what your child needs to get to sleep. So, keep that in mind when you're making your sleep plan. What do you want to be happening in that stage one, stage two for them to get to sleep? Their body chemistry. Do they have cortisol coursing through? Are they overtired? That goes with sleep pressure. Do they have too much of an adenosine buildup? That's important to consider as well. Communication strategies. This varies widely with how your child's communicating. I know with toddler and children, there's a big range. So, where are they in that communication? Can you get their buy in? Is it something you guys can talk about? Or is it something you need to communicate more with action? Developmentally appropriate sleep. For being here, you're getting our free wake time chart. So, I'm so glad that you're here so that you can get that free wake time chart and can really see what is the developmentally appropriate sleep for your child and their age. What are typical communication messages from your baby or toddler or child? You know your child. So what is it about them that they're communicating to you? And then when to be guided by the clock versus their cues. So, when you're creating this blueprint, you're taking it based on your child and based on some of the things you learned tonight. And making this plan helps you communicate clearly with love to your child. It can also really help you understand when your child is trying to communicate with you. Having them communicate back to you is, in my opinion, the most important part of this process. Really hearing what they're saying to you and interpreting what that means and what adjustments need to take place for that. And it also allows you to make informed decisions. When you make this plan, you're making it at a time where your brain is functioning at full capacity, it's during the daytime. So that way at 2 a.m., you can make the decision that you need to. Meet Fisher. I worked with this sweet family not too long ago. And Emily was so sweet, and these were some of the very kind words that she had to say. We were ready to get consistent, good night's sleep. What we got was above and beyond confidence to lay our toddler down, confidence in his ability to sleep, a better behaved child, and we got our evening alone time back. He was so sweet. Their babysitter came in one day and he ran up and he was like, I stayed in my room all night. I stayed in my room all night. And that's one of my favorite things to see with these kids is the confidence that they get in themselves when they do it. And you're like, yes, that is awesome. So that is creating their body blueprint. Take all of those things and make it for your child. So then the sleepy strategy. When we don't have a sleep strategy, we work on all the things. We're like, well, Google told me to do this. My friend Susan told me to try that. My mom said they did this when I was little. I don't know. So we try small solutions for short period of time with no effect. Without an effective strategy, toddlers become very confused, and confused children cry. So, when confused children are crying, I mean, I know I want to cry when I'm confused, but most of the time I hold it in until I'm solo. But we have to have this effective strategy that you stick with so that they know what to expect and they don't have that confusion and we limit the crying. Having a strategy gives us a guide in the moment. It takes away that in the moment certainty because you know it's designed to fit your child and your family. It allows your partner to participate and ensures that you're setting up the whole family for success. When it's just kind of an idea you have in your mind, it's a lot harder to get everyone on board. But if it's something that you take pen to paper and you're like, we are getting this strategy down. This is what we're going to do at this time. This is what we're going to do at this time. This is what we're going to do at this time. It helps everyone be on board and provide even more consistency. So, the most frustrating thing is intensely trying different things, not knowing if they will A, even help your toddler, or B, get you both more sleep. So, then a lot of times we just default to what we know. But with the 7 to 7 formula that we've been talking about and that we use as coaches, it helps you filter through which strategies are right for your child specifically and which tools are not effective. Because really we want effectiveness. So there's your unique child, and there's having a sleepy strategy, or there's just trying different things every day or two. One leads to that mom goals Monday we want. One leads to the hot mess Hannah, where there's a very confused toddler, there's a very confused mom, no one's on the same page, and everyone is just confused. So, when you're creating these sleepy strategies, these are the things that we have to look at to get our bases covered. Components of the strategy: one, safe sleep. Are they in an environment where they're safe to sleep? Do they feel safe to sleep? It is crucial to have a bedtime routine. It is such a good cueing system for their body. It helps them know what's coming, what to expect. And again, anytime we can help them know what's coming and what to expect, we will eliminate so much crying. Having a bedtime plan and approach. So, like, okay, what is our plan? Like, yeah, we made the bedtime routine, then we put them in the bed. Now what? That's something you have to decide as well. Nighttime plan. What are we going to do if they wake up in the middle of the night? It's so important to have that plan before you go in so that you can know what you're doing so that you avoid that confusion. Wake times, which again, I'm so glad you're here because you will be getting the wake time chart, and that is huge in helping to know how much sleep your child needs, what their wake times need to be so that they have enough adenosine buildup so that they can get the quality sleep they need. Naps. How many naps does your child need? Does the nap need to be in their bed? Are they still in a crib? What does their nap need to look like? Reset strategies. When they are just firing on all cylinders and they are in that red light learning, what do? How do you get them out of that red light and through the yellow into the green? How do you get them calm enough that they can be back to learning? Developmentally appropriate daytime activities. How do you have to even plan, well, we're going to really get some outside time. We're going to really make sure they get wiggles out, but we also need to make sure that they have calm time so that they can relax as well. Sleep is so much more than the 30 minutes around bedtime. It is a 24-hour affair. If they're young enough, or even if they're older, food. What kinds of food affect them in certain ways? And then, various customizations based on your child. Are they on certain medications? Do they need, whatever it is? Are they sharing a room with a sibling? Whatever it is for them, that could provide more customization. This is Kale. I just finished with their family. He was 4. And she she was so funny. I just love the way she described Kayla in this first sentence. I have a wild man, a feral child, an Energizer bunny. He never slows down, and he's always hungry. That reminds me so much of my first son. But Kale stayed in his room all night and sleeps in his room all night long. And she said that he can tell like behavioral changes. They can tell that he's so much calmer during the day. And she was one of those moms that was firmly like, he just won't do it. And I was like, Emily, you're going to have to borrow my confidence for a while. And she was like, okay. And I'm so glad that she trusted me because now they're all getting a full night's sleep. So I'm so happy for them. So then the third step is reclaiming rest. However, you have to reclaim rest in a way that is not stressful because rest is not stressful. I don't know if you knew that, but rest is not supposed to cause more stress to your life. It needs to be in a way that allows your toddler and you to pay off the sleep debt. So, sleep debt is when that adenosine and that sleep pressure builds up so much, it's kind of like a credit card. You can pay the minimum payment, you can pay the minimum payment, you can pay the minimum payment, but the actual debt builds and builds and builds. And so, a lot of times when we start working with families, we see that for the first few days, everyone is extra sleepy because once you start chipping away at that sleep debt, you start to feel your body goes, okay, we're getting the sleep that we need. And a lot of times when sleep debt is paid off, you see soaring new development and it really increases your attachment, which is just such a fun time to see. So, how to reclaim that rest effectively? We need to make sure that these changes are lasting and that they're flexible at the same time. So, customize the daily rhythm to lengthen the naps, learn on the go strategies for sleep. We can't be home all the time. Sometimes you've got to go to a birthday party, or sometimes you've got to go to a baby shower, or whatever it is, you can't be home 24/7. You can understand regressions and sickness and what to do there to make sure that you're getting the amount of sleep that you need. How to customize as your child develops and changes. So if you make a sleep plan for an 18-month-old, it's not going to be the same when they're 4. So you have to really think about, okay, following that wake time chart that you're going to get. Okay, now they need this amount of sleep. So where are we going to shave off that time? And learn how to customize as you go and as you learn your child more and more. And then really empowering your child to make sleep a lasting skill. That's encouraging them, talking about how strong they are when they get sleep, talking about how sleep is so good for them, and really helping them learn how sleep makes them feel. If you can connect to them how the sleep makes them feel, then that's a large part of the battle with toddlers because they know that they need it, but really helping and empowering them to make it a lasting skill is huge. So having a clear sleep strategy, it improves your relationship with your little one because there aren't those bedtime battles. It allows other safe people to create a new bond over sleep with your child. Seeing those pictures of my dad with Marebug is just so precious to me because that is just something that never would have been able to happen. It makes the bedtime process shorter. Our bedtimes are 20 minutes. They're sweet 20 minutes. I soak them up, but then we close the door and I can come downstairs and, go about my life. It avoids confusion between parent to parent and parent to child. Andrew and I aren't fighting about what we need to do. There's not confusion on like, oh, you do that at bedtime? Oh, I do this. Oh, I do that. And there's also not one of us that the kids try to get away with something. There's not one of us that can for sure put them down, no problem, and the other one they push the boundaries. The boys know that bedtime is bedtime, no matter who's doing it with them. It also makes the changes lasting. It can really make sure that these changes stay in effect well into their upper elementary, middle school years. It can really make them lasting. So, imagine this. You have an extensive sleep strategy plan and you know exactly how you're going to teach your child to sleep. All you need to do now is go through the step by step process, lovingly guiding your toddler. Does that sound pretty dreamy? I feel like it did to me. I know it did to me. So, when your toddler woke up last night, did you know exactly what to do to help her sleep longer? Or was there a bit of a moment of, oh, what do we do here? Stop using the precious time with your little one, tired, exhausted, and just trying to figure out what to do. Use your sleepy strategy to tell you what to do so that you know what you're going to do to get her and coincidentally you some more sleep. Meet Hudson. This is a sweet, sweet little boy who just became a big brother. That's so exciting. And Amy was so sweet to work with. And it was so wonderful because her and her husband were able to get some precious time after Hudson went to bed where they could really enjoy that time, the two of them, before their new baby entered the world. So they were so, so sweet to work with. So, if you could take away one thing, I want you to know that you can teach your child to sleep without the endless battles and losing your patience. Please, if you take away anything, feel that confidence that you can do this. So, the question now is, how are you going to apply the 7 to 7 secure sleep formula for your child to sleep those 10 to 12 hours a night without crying it out or without feeling like you're potentially harming them? At this point, do you feel like you have the ability to become are you still Brittany? Are you option one? Or can you be option two, Rachel, feeling calm, ready for anything, and has that energy to spend the quality time with her family? Or like Fisher's family, where they went from waking up exhausted and defeated with little patience after a long night to having that confidence to lay him down, confident in his ability to sleep, and to having a better behaved child and getting their evening alone time back. Or Kale's family, where they went from being frustrated because their little guy just doesn't sleep ever. She put that ever in there, and I loved it, to having sleeps and stays in his room all night. Or Hudson's family, where they went from sleep being challenging and attempting bedtime led to always frustration and meltdowns, or to having going to bed without a fuss. Mommy and daddy now have the gift of time before new baby arrives. It's time for you to stop hoping that it'll get better tonight or tomorrow and start teaching your child a sleep strategy. It's time for you to follow a plan that takes all the guesswork out of the in the moment of what to do when you're teaching your child to sleep. Every single child is completely unique. From birth is absolutely true, but also especially as their personalities start to show. And I know that you all know that. So, because you're here and because every child is so unique, I'm opening up my calendar and you guys can book a free 15-minute call with me to talk about your child, their individual needs, and what it would be like to work together. And I want to talk with you guys. I really, really do. You can click on the button to schedule that now. There are some limited spots. Obviously 15 minutes. I have clients, but I tried to open as many spots as I could, but there's still some limited spots. So you can click on the button to register now. And so going into that, I want to talk with you about your individual child, and we will have Q&A at the end. But what does it look like when these clients worked with me, and what does it look like to even work with a sleep coach? When you work with a coach, we start with a customized strategy. So we have a call to kick off, make sure we're a good fit. We then cover an extensive questionnaire, a questionnaire evaluation, where I comb through it. I pick out all the pieces. I ask follow up questions. We have customized goals. And then from those, I make an extensive customized bedtime plan, an extensive customized nap time plan, and exactly what to do during the night so that it takes all the guesswork out for you. We have a 90+ minute one-on-one consultation where we dive even more into the science behind all of the sleep. We talk about that education. We talked about a lot of it but tonight, but we'll cover even more so that you know the why, like why we're doing what we're recommending we do. And then we go through the sleep plan step by step by step. We answer all of your questions and we ensure that you're ready to begin. Then we have 3 full weeks of coach support. So that includes daily voice and text message support, unlimited email support, several follow-up calls, and then we'll actually keep a sleep log. You can see a copy of it here where I track every time your child sleeps and give you feedback on it so that we can make in the moment adjustments. So we have 3 different coaching packages. So I really love all 3 of these options. So everything that I just mentioned is in that custom coaching package. That is where, we have that daily contact, we're really working together, we're making those adjustments. And then there's our most popular package, which is bedtime support. And I love bedtime support, and here's why. If bedtime night 1 can go super smoothly, which basically what that means is I'm either at your house if you're local, or I am at home. I'm, wide awake the whole time. I can tap in through a video monitor. We're in constant communication through bedtime night 1. It allows me to give on the spot customization, minute by minute instruction through the first bedtime. And that can just really take so much pressure off. And when night 1 goes really smoothly, the rest of the 3 weeks together goes even more smoothly. So, custom coaching, awesome option. We have great, great, great results with that. Bedtime support just really gives that extra kind of like fresh start. Then there's the overnight. So, this option is where if you're local, I can either, stay at your house, have your monitor, or if you're not local, or if you just would rather not have me stay at your house, then I can actually be there virtually all night long. So I will stay awake, I will stay at my house, and I will be available at any moment throughout the night. When they wake up, I'm available, and I am there for bedtime guidance, I'm there for night 1 guidance, moment by moment by moment. I'm there for that encouragement and that support that sometimes people just really need in order to get through night 1. So, those are our 3 kind of what it looks like coaching wise. But again, I really want to talk to you about your individual child and what their specific needs are so that we can really target exactly what your goals and your desires are. So, the question is not, will your toddler learn how to sleep? It's, are you ready for them to start sleeping? So, out of, 1 to 10, how badly do you want to sleep without any wake ups? Put it in the comments below. I want to see. So, if you started today in 3 weeks, a 10. Yep, absolutely. If you started today in 3 weeks, your toddler could be sleeping all night long. Does that feel real yet? Do you kind of have the hope yet? I hope, if anything, you've gotten the hope. Here is a link to my scheduler. There should be a button as well. And then sweet Amy, again, her sweet, sweet words. And again, when you book a call today, if you become a client, you'll get, it looks like the keeping healthy attachment was the real key, but we'll give you both. So just because we're so excited to have you here. So anyway, I'm so, so thankful that you all were here tonight to be with me to talk a bit more about your child's sleep. And so I would love to open it up for questions. So, who has a sleep question for me tonight about your child? How essential are naps? So that is really dependent on the age. Um, and there's a big genetic component for that. Starting at about 3, children, well, really, starting about 18 months, kids need anywhere from 11 to 14 hours of sleep. And there's a large component to that if they're on the 14 or the 11-hour side. And so if they're on the 14-hour side, the 2-hour nap is going to be essential for a long time. I know my son Clark, he is on the much lower end of the sleep side. So he only gets 12 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period. And we want all 12 of those at nighttime. So he does no longer nap, but he has a quiet time as well. So I do think some downtime during the day is really important, regardless of their age. But naps, once you hit that like 2.5, 3, you can kind of weigh, okay, do we want more sleep at nighttime or do we really need this nap? What do you do when your little one needs you to fall asleep? Try to lovey, but it doesn't work. Great question, Karen. So that is where you really have to take into consideration like your specific child and follow the plan we laid out tonight to really like, okay, what are we going to do at bedtime? How are we going to do this? What's the bedtime routine we want? We need to make sure that they're staying, in that green learning. We need to make sure that their sleep pressure isn't too built up. All of those things that we talked about and really get that into a strategy. And, depending on their age, really talk with them, really try to help them um, feel that confidence and that empowerment. And if you want to talk more about your like specific child, I would love to talk with you on a call. So definitely book one of those. But really, what you do is you develop a plan and you run with it instead of trying something different, every day. How to stop early wakings. So early wakings could be a few things. It could be, nap might be too early. It could be that they're way overtired. So they could have a lot of cortisol in their system, which can cause a lot of early mornings. It could be that they need some fine tuning to their sleep skills. So really like think about all three of those things. Like does bedtime need to be moved up a little bit earlier? Um, how early is their first nap? Those are all things that I would look at. Are they really dependent on something in that stage 1 and stage 2 to fall asleep? Those are all the things that I would look at. So if you can't quickly identify one of those, then book a call and we can talk through that a little bit more about what's happening with your specific little one, Alex. Oh, Chelsea stopped napping at 2. Clark really stopped at like 2.5, almost 3. But if he's getting 12 hours at night, he's probably getting enough. I would say a quiet time is still essential for his age for sure. Lauren, absolutely, you could go with all 3 boys at the same time. I actually really recommend that. I mean, maybe not starting night 1 all at the same time, but we could do a bit more of like a tapered approach. Um, but instead of this like lasting 9 weeks, like 3 weeks for each boy, it would be a lot better to do it over like a 4-week period where, you start one and then a couple of days later you start the other and then a couple of days later you start the other. So absolutely, Lauren. And they all share a room. Okay. So that, I mean, they still could either all do it at the same time, kind of taper it, kind of just depends on your kids. If there's an option to pull, 1 or 2, it just kind of depends on your kids. I'd love to talk through that a bit more with you as well. So I'd love to chat with you for 15 minutes. So, but I mean, I would definitely say start at the same time. This cannot be a 9-week process. You would probably go insane. So definitely better to do it all at once. One night of bad thunderstorms created a fear of being in the bedroom. How easy is that to get over? Oh, that is so hard when they get that fear in them and when they're scared of the bedroom. So, for that, I would say play in the bedroom throughout the day. Really have it be like a fun place, a confident place, a place where he has like really good associations, and try to play in there throughout the day. It is really pretty easy to get over, and a lot of times kids forget pretty quickly. So just talk about, how strong you are, how mommy and daddy are right down the hall, whatever it is. And we can definitely talk through that as well. But one night of bad thunderstorms and a fear of the bedroom should not be should not be a problem. It should be a pretty quick thing to get over. So you guys have got it. My 13-month-old only feeds and cuddles to sleep. Please tell me you can help. Yes, we definitely can help with that. That is very common, but common does not have to be the way that it stays. That's what they're needing in that stage 1 and stage 2, and so that's what they're needing every single time that they wake up. So, we definitely can talk through that and make a plan for that as well. So, are there any other questions that you guys have? It has been so fun being with you guys tonight. I love talking about sleep. I I feel like I get like an abnormal amount of sleep. I like love to get like 9 hours of sleep a night, which is not the norm, but I've always said that sleep is my love language. So I'm so glad that you guys are all here so that I can share that with you. Um, so I'd love to hear if you guys have any more questions or if you booked a call. I can't wait to talk to you a little bit more and just see what is going on with your individual child because they are all so different. Those of you with more than one kids, can you definitely tell that they are so different? So I will give it just one more minute, see if anyone else has a question. And then we will hop off. But I'm so, so thankful that you guys were all here with me tonight. It has been so much fun talking through this with you. I know that you all have little ones that can be really, really great sleepers, and you guys can get your nights back. I am so confident in that. So I know you can. So, all right. Well, if there are no other questions, then I will go ahead and I will just see you guys all next time. So, thank you for being here.